Hi guys, welcome to season 2 of Conversations with a Love Activist. So seeing that it is the month of love, we thought let us debut the season with me and Quentin's first couples coaching session with Shannon Pam. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. Before I did couples coaching, I didn't really think I needed couples coaching. I thought we're fine, we're happy, we like each other most of the time. And then we had our first session and I was like, oh shiz-whiz, I am basically Jon Snow. I know nothing about communication. I know nothing about seeing my partner. I know nothing. So stay tuned to the very end because we round up all the great tools we learned just in this first session. And share, subscribe, and let us grow in loving ourselves and each other together. See ya.
We all have these universal needs, these needs that at the core of it, a lot of our behavior is motivated from. Mm-hmm. So when we understand that some of these needs are being met more than other needs, then we can zone in on the needs that are not being met. And we can really focus in on trying to get those needs met. And the beliefs that we have around ourselves have a fundamental impact on how we show up in the world, how we feel, and so how we show up in the world. So if we're not feeling particularly good about ourselves, how might we feel? We might feel
sluggish.
We might feel demotivated. Or if we're not feeling good about ourselves, we might feel like we have to overperform. Because I'm not feeling good about myself. I have to be perfect in this. This has to be perfect. Because what does it mean if it's not perfect? Mm-hmm. Do you see how our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves impact how we feel and so how we show up?
Mm-hmm. For me, it makes sense. I am a chronic or people pleaser. Quentin always, this is a constant fight. Because I often disregard myself and go with the flow of others. I don't want to create friction and that kind of thing. So I end up usually overperforming, showing up, overextending myself. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll be there. And it's all on Tuesday. And so how must I be on all these places at the same time? And so it's a constant heated discussion that we have where, it doesn't seem like I put myself first. I go, what does the group want? And then I'll just go what the group is doing.
I'm one of those people that if you tell me that I can't do something, that lights me up. I don't like being praised. I don't like being complimented. If I did a good job, I know it. And so I don't know how to react to compliments. And then at times I'm bad at complimenting others and acknowledging that someone's done good because I'm like, you've done good. And I think that is something I've realized with my wife and my daughter that I need to watch that because they do want that acknowledgement. They do want that affirmation. The whole thing is the affirmation. I don't think for me is quite as strong in terms of a need for affirmation. But then the emotions and things that you mentioned, for me, they come a lot when I feel unprepared or I feel not in control.
All right.
I'm constantly affirming myself, but I think it's at a point now where it's even subconscious.
Yes.
Where there's a lot about me I can improve on. But and I think maybe it comes from I've got a stutter. So now that you say it, is that a lot of it came from when I was younger. Yeah. So if you get teased and you buy into the tease,
Yeah.
It's just a problem. So I learned then that at times I would join in the making fun of me, and we would all have a laugh. And for some reason, it's
stuck.
Yes, it's stuck because I accepted myself, and by doing that, somehow I affirmed myself. I don't know if it makes sense.
Some people desperately crave external affirmation because their inner voice is not yet strong enough to affirm themselves. Does that make sense? And some people are the opposite. They have strengthened their inner voice to such an extent that it almost seems weird that somebody would need the external affirmation, because it's just like, actually, I've learned that the external opinions don't really mean very much, and they actually do more hurt than help, if that makes sense. So you learned as a young child not to rely on other voices for your sense of self-worth. You learned to affirm yourself, which is fantastic. I think we just need to be conscious that on that continuum, if we're at either extreme, we might be missing an opportunity. We might be missing an opportunity, because real bonding and real care is helping one another to become your biggest selves, to really step into the fullness of who you are. And if we are only seeing our own view of ourselves, we almost shut ourselves off from other people's beautiful perspectives. They can see gems that we have to bring into the world that we might not yet see. So there's almost a reflection or a mirror, if you will, a role that we play for one another in helping us actualization, in helping us to become who we want to be. And then on the other scale, where we are really thinking about what other people think, and it's super important to come across as really helpful and on top of everything and be able to fit everyone in, and we don't necessarily affirm ourselves and go, I am enough, even if I say no, I am enough. And the developmental feedback, we missing opportunities potentially. And then on the other scale, where we are really thinking about what other people think, and it's super important to come across as really helpful and on top of everything and be able to fit everyone in, and we don't necessarily affirm ourselves and go, I am enough, even if I say no, I am enough. I am a good friend, even if I cannot see this friend on this day. I am, really actualizing. I'm becoming who I want to be, even if I slow down and pace my week out differently. So the way we talk to ourselves is important. And that's what you were talking about earlier, Quentin, about being a little bit uncomfortable. And in your family, there must be some sort of desire for that feedback for you to have mentioned that. There must have been some sort of conversation around, it'd be good to hear that was good. Or I don't talk a little bit more into that. Like, what does that look like? Do you get actually asked for the feedback, or is it just that you sense that you're not giving it and it's not something that you're comfortable with?
I think it's a topic that Kule is aware of, as in, she's the person I engage with most, and this issue, it concerns her. So if you're okay, I can share if you're not. Yes. So there's a friend of hers who's pregnant, and then initially I thought they were planning on doing a drop-off of presents, because that's what happened with another friend who was pregnant in this time of the corona.
Yes.
And now, as we all know, there's a new variant out there which spreads even quicker than before. Then I hear that they're having a get together, as in it's going to be 8 people. I'm like, no, but you know what's going on in the world, and they're like, no, they're going to take precaution. But I think my frustration was that she wasn't getting where I'm coming from, and there was an energy that she doesn't care. And she didn't want to engage, because even the communication was more to get rid of me, not to engage, like, go away, man, you're ruining my nice party here. And so I was saying to her that, I ended up, there's one night where I couldn't sleep, because as we get closer to the date, my alarm bells are becoming louder. And then I then had to engage to say, hey, we're getting closer. What's going on? I'm not comfortable with this, but you don't seem to want to engage with me. And the response I get is a total shutdown, and words like, you think I'm stupid. And then on my side, I'm like, because it's not about
taking
that.
it person. Yeah. So
yeah. So I think those are the things that drain me, because unfortunately, as much as I can be functioning and being okay, it's still a thought in my mind. So I realized that as much as we had, because I think the thing that then happened is that she threw everything out the window and said, I'm no longer going, it's fine, I'm sure, and communicated to her friends that, I don't know whether she said I'm not okay with her going, but
I know, I just said I'm not coming.
So there's that thing where I'm someone who appreciates understanding. We might not agree, but at least there's to be some sort of understanding. And at times, even if you come to a resolution, when understanding doesn't exist, I'm still not okay. And I think it's something that has followed us throughout our relationship, because in a different circumstance, the same thing happens with some of her friends with a totally different matter, or with her sisters and something. And then when I try and communicate, I get treated like a parent. And so it's where I think for me, it's a challenge, because I don't know how best to communicate or to manage that space.
On my side, maybe I didn't communicate properly, but I just felt like no matter what I said, short of wearing what people at, doctors wear to this baby shower, wouldn't have been satisfactory to Quentin. So I felt like no matter what I say, that no, we said we're going to maintain social distance. We said we're going to wear masks at all times. We said we're going to take a test. These are the things that we said that we would do to keep each other safe. It didn't feel like it would appease his anxieties about it. And so for me, even the reason I know why I wanted to go to this baby shower, it's a very special baby shower. This particular friend has been struggling for many years to have a baby, and I've been supporting her on this journey for her to get to the point where she can even believe that she is worthy of having a baby. So for me, that was my reason, but I felt like maybe that's why I threw the word stupid, because it sounds like, so what? I mean, there's a virus, you could die. Is it worth dying for type situation? And when you compare those two, I mean, then it feels like I'm being silly. Obviously, I don't want to die, but I really love this friend and I really want to support her in this very special time. And like Quentin said, the baby is not going to care whether you are at her baby shower or not, but the mother will care. And so for him, and I will care. And so for him, me caring about supporting my friend and being genuinely present for this really special time, it feels like put against life and death. It's stupid. Don't go to the baby shower, duh.
First of all, I just want to say that there are the risks and impacts physically that we are going through and experiencing right now, in terms of the actual physical risk of contracting a virus that can be this, I want to say vicious, but that can be this intense, So there is the physical risk, and there is the physical almost implications that need to be considered. the more invisible risks and implications and effects that we are feeling and experiencing are the social and emotional impacts of this last year. So, and especially for those among us who are more, I want to say, on the extroverted side, who actually do get a lot of their energy and their sense of joy and sense of self through engaging with people that they love. There is definitely a difference in how people experience social distancing. Somebody who is more introverted, who is more comfortable in their own individual space, in their home, just with their nuclear family or even by themselves, will absolutely more easily embrace social distancing because that is a comfort space. Understand that from your side, Quentin, for you, it makes logical sense. It's just like, why would anyone want to get together with their friends right now in this context? If we jump into an extroverted viewpoint, if we jump into it from a different perspective, where social contact is so a part of meeting that connection need, that the need for connection is so great that a year of this on and off, lockdown has a much bigger impact. But it's very important to understand whenever there is conflict in a relationship, it is because there is a need that was not met and not acknowledged. So what we want to do is we want to try to open up what needs have not been acknowledged, what need had not been acknowledged, or what need was not being met that inspired wanting to connect. I've given you a little clue.
There's a need to connect. I understand there's a need to connect. Yes. But also there's a timing involved. In terms of this, is that we just come from the holidays. We survived the holidays through the grace of God or the universe. We met with our families, we had lunches, we're all together. So that, for me, as much as my wife didn't see it because I didn't put it out there, that was a very stressful time. Because, there are times when she came and said she had a headache, I stressed.
Yes.
I was like, Lord, please, hope it's not. Yes. But she doesn't experience that. I do. And so now, whereby, okay, we've gone through the holidays, I know family was here and we had to see family. Guess what happens? More is piled on. And I'm like, but are we living in a different world? Are we living in parallel universes? People die. We've got friends who've died. We've got friends who phoned us ill.
What has transpired between the two of you is more the how than the what.
Yes.
Let me explain. It's more the how than the what. Both of you have a very important need that was not being met in that situation. Both of you had a very important need that had not been met in that situation. And you both felt at the time that your need was needs. Can you have a go at thinking? So, what was Quentin's need, Julie?
Safety.
What was Quentin?
Safety.
And what was your need?
Connection.
Yeah.
That's my need.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
my
friend in
Now, connection and safety are both primary needs. They are very, very, very core to our sense of being. Now, safety for some is a much more important need than connection. And for some, connection feels even more important than safety. They're willing to almost risk some of the safety things for the connection. Okay? And often in relationships, there's a little bit of a difference in what is priority. Okay. Now, when you have a family together, it's almost like, how can we best try to meet both needs in a way that both needs don't get compromised completely? Now, sometimes you can't actually compromise to a point where you're not overly risking the safety element and you're not completely losing the connection. But that is really the ground we're trying to walk on, is let's understand both these needs. Let's value both these needs. And let's work on how can we get these needs met in the best way possible that considers as much as possible. Does that make sense?
It felt as though my need for connection was stupid, which is why I use the word stupid, because obviously life and death is more important than connecting with people. And
is that obvious?
It's not.
Is that obvious? It might not be. It might not be obvious, because think about how many people go to war to protect their countries. They would rather die protecting their community than actually then live and run away and be safe. So connection is a very, very strong need. And I think that's what I'm trying to say is it wasn't stupid for you to feel heartbroken at the thought of not going to your friend. It's the furthest thing from stupid.
Okay, let me say it felt like that was how it was being received, as though, but life and death versus going to go see a friend. It felt like it should have been an obvious choice, which is where he was getting frustrated, is why isn't this as obvious to you as it is to me? Because my need for connection is stronger than yours. You're fine to be at home with us, just the two of us. I need, I need more. I need to connect with people, especially people who I've been on this journey where they've struggled for so long, and I've been completely unable to experience their pregnancy at all because of COVID. And so, it's like I kept my social distance so that at least I could have this moment of celebration. But that did feel like that's stupid.
Really sit with that, knowing that connection is important to me, and that's why I really wanted to try and make it work. When I think about it, maybe the risk is a bit too high, and maybe there wasn't enough ways to really protect. But it's okay to go, I'm heartbroken about this. Like, it's okay to go, connection is super important to me, and that's why I wanted to try and make it work.
Yeah.
It's about the way we engage. You see, like how we engage now. We've used words, safety and connection, and the way I start to engage is that I start off on 1, and then if I get no results, I go to 2. With Tule, she only wants to engage me when I'm at 10. And 10 is me being aggressive and me going, what the F? And that's my issue. At 1, I even used the exact terms, I don't understand why you're going. We'll be careful. She brushes me off. And this is not the only thing where the same processes happen. So I've even got a template on my side to say, no, I first, then I go, and I only get responses.
So it ramps up.
And then once we reach there, all my attempts are not even acknowledged to say, I love my wife. I wanted to be with her friends. So my initial attempts were even to say, what other way?
I'm hearing you that it escalates. It like gathers momentum as the conversation goes. And also, I want us to be very clear that even at your lowest frequency, when you in your entry point might still have a tinge of triggering energy.
My experience, and maybe which is why I then just shut down. It's different if you say, I'm struggling to understand ABCD, then I don't get why you don't get ABCD. So for me, when I get approached with, I don't understand, it doesn't feel like you're trying to understand. It feels like I should understand, and why am I not understanding? And so then it's why then And I'm sorry that then it felt like I dismissed you. That was not my intention. It was a defense because I didn't know, how do I make you understand? I said these are the ways, these are the only ways that we can make ourselves feel safe. There's not much more except for literally being in a physical bubble. It didn't feel like you were going to go, hey, have you considered this option? It never felt like that was the energy with which it always felt like you should get why this is not a good idea. And I need to see proof of you having thought it out to the nth detail of how you're going to be safe. That is how I experienced it. That may not have been your intention.
Yeah, I think it brings us back to just a wrap up from my side. It brings us back to that thing whereby I feel like I only get heard when I'm at frequency 10. And then when I'm at frequency 10 and I'm being heard there, everything else I've been saying, building up to that, it doesn't exist. Yeah. I tried that.
So
I'm talking about those times before that.
No, I did that.
No, what I'm saying is, even from those, you're not experiencing it from my experience. Even when you feel you're at level 1, your level 1 already has a energy. And so the energy...
You're not necessarily starting at level 1. Both had experiences that have locked you into a way of responding to one another. So you're expecting to get shut down. If you do get shut down, then it proves your theory, and then you come back with a different level. And what I'm hearing is that there's an opportunity to see each other a little bit more here, both of you.
Yes.
There's an opportunity to see each other a little bit more, and that is my invitation to both of you. Both of you are protecting yourself by going into your default. Chile, you're protecting yourself by going, I don't want to talk about it, because you don't want to feel bad about yourself and your decisions. You don't want to be interrogated. You don't want to be made to feel stupid. You don't want to also miss out on the excitement of what you're feeling, the joy that you're feeling. There's a whole lot of things you're trying to protect. And so by doing that, what you do is you shut down important conversations that could be important for you and could keep you safe. Am I right? So my invitation to you is to go, know that you're in a process together. Know that you're in a process together to learn how to communicate in a way that is going to be best for all of you, your whole family, and your friendships. They're important too. And then, Quentin, my invitation to you is, although you've tried it in the past, because it's been partnered with other behaviors that have been triggering, it might not necessarily have the same effect. You need to actually double up on the efforts of really seeing and acknowledging, and gentle approach, but not in a you get aggression, and then you get passivity, and you can also be passive aggressive. So a statement like, I don't understand why you'd want to go, is actually on the verge of passive aggressive. Can you understand why it could be that way? Because what you're implying is there is no logic that my mind can come to that you could fathom, even think of going. So if I had to say that to you, I, after days of contemplating it, cannot grasp 1 ounce of logic why in the world you would want this, and this. I mean, that's the underlying, that's what you get under the surface of, I don't understand why you'd want to go. Like, I don't understand. Instead of, I don't understand why you want to go, I completely understand why you want to go. I completely understand why you want to go. The absolute opposite is what I want you to try. I get you. You want to connect with your friends. Flip, you love them. You've been part of this. This journey is so important to you. I totally understand why you want to go. And deep down, like, I want you to have what you want. And also, this is competing with a real need that we have to keep our family safe. And I'm not sure we can actually do both.
I hear you. No, you You put it very nicely. I thought by saying I don't understand, it's an invitation to reach understanding.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. What it is it's a statement. It's a statement that you will have to defend this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says. It says you're out. This is out.
Okay.
You're in front of the. No, you're in front of the jury. The jury has not seen any evidence that your case has any validity. If we were doing a longer program, we would look at what is known as nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg. And you learn in NVC, you learn what terms and what thoughts, and because you can even be violent within your own head. So it's thoughts and words that can be triggering. And we call that jackal language. Jackal language is language that can trigger a response. And he has the opposite of that, which is giraffe language, which triggers opening up and feeling safe. So this is so important because another concept that I want us to talk about is empathy. You get cognitive empathy, which is the thoughts and the understanding in your head. And then you get emotional empathy, which is understanding a person's heart and where they are emotionally. And sometimes those two are in conflict. So Quentin, your natural urge is to want cognitive empathy. I want to understand in my head what you're thinking without necessarily going, hold on, let me drop down into my heart and go, how is she feeling about the situation? How is she feeling about the situation? How can I connect with her here? Because her heart is sore at the thought of not connecting with her friends. It's not her head that's sore. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're going, I don't understand. I want to know in my head. And she's going, leave me alone, because she's trying to protect her heart.
I see.
It's important. It's important that we look at this, because I think these patterns that are sort of bubbling to the surface between the two of you are beautiful examples of areas that if you actually deepen your understanding of the triggering underneath and ways to engage in ways that are more effective, you're going to ultimately shift not only how you show up, but the results that you get in your relationship. You're going to be able to meet and see each other in different ways. Is in this practice of opening up to one another, is to use questions. So instead of shutting down, Chile, when you hear this parental kind of tone, go, what are you needing? What are you needing that you're not feeling that you're getting? Be curious about that. What is Quentin needing that he's not getting, and what you might be missing? You know? So those are questions you can ask. What am I missing? What are you needing? You know, what is important to you? These are questions that you can use. Quentin, from your side, is, similar questions like what are you needing here? What is important to you? Have you thought about X, Y, and Z? But you've got to be careful with that question. You can't say, well, have you thought about like the risks of when somebody hugs you? So you saw how I asked that. I said, if one of your friends had to want to hug you, how easy would it be for you to say no? And that just totally breaks defenses, because when you ask it in a way that kind of feels human and feels like, oh, yes, I'm seen in the fact that this is a risk, and I get it. Then it's easier for the person to actually say, oh, I get it. Even though I really want this might actually be too risky. Rather than, you want to try to both be on the same side, rather than I'm going to convince you that you are wrong. I don't understand how you can't even see how wrong you are. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Understood. No,
I'll leave you with questions. And we will talk more about this if you have any questions or any other thoughts. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week.
You think you've dealt with something like this shutting down or dodging conversations thing. I thought I had dealt with it, and clearly I have not. It's still clearly something that I find difficult to have hard conversations. So for me, I didn't consider what your need, or that you had a need to feel safe, that was not being met. And so I think that coming from, or asking those questions of what is it that you're needing genuinely, not I'm trying to win an argument, I'm talking about me, can really, for me, soften the conversation, so that I don't think that I always have to be on the defense, or that I'm going to be the wrong one because I have some belief that I'm stupid, which is not true. But clearly there is something at the back that is making me believe that I think I am stupid, and so I don't want to engage because I'm going to lose the argument, because I'm not smart enough to convince you otherwise.
Yeah,
so the needs is a much better strategy than the shutting down.